So here we are, Marnie, a few hours later. Okay.
Yes.
Any reflections on yesterday?
Well, actually, I realized when I said a couple of things. When I said I was an anxious child, I think I'm going to retract that a little bit because I don't want to end up going down the wrong path. I think I was only anxious in certain situations, not like a general, everything makes me anxious.
Oh,
Also,
okay.
when you were asking about feeling unloved, I would say not at home, not from my family, not in the first, 7 years. More that would be possibly amongst friends or, peers, I'd say. So if that helps. What else was I thinking? Oh, yeah. Well, obviously, I keep trying to figure things out and I keep telling myself, you're not going to get the answers from your head. So that's a constant conflict. Stay out of my head and I'll probably come to the answers.
Well, and that's a good comment, because we tend to want to, like I said yesterday about guilt, we tend to want to, that's something else, and then that's from deeper in than your head. Okay.
Yeah.
Typically, and all of it, everybody, I've never met an exception to this, would love to go back in their life and redo a few things. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's...
maybe a lot of things, and maybe some big things, but we've all got it. There's no way to avoid that on this human experience, so.
But then I think we can look at it and say we got just exactly what we needed to be where we are now. So we could, I agree with you. We all look back and think, maybe I should have done this differently or whatever. Very true.
Yeah.
But then the way to kind of reframe that, I think, is to realize, well, you are the person you are today because of all those challenges you had to go through or choices you made that weren't so great.
Well, and included in you are the person that you are today are some of those things that happened that haven't been resolved yet, and there are ballast in your balloon, to use a metaphor we talked about yesterday. Okay.
Yep. Very, very true. And I think one thing that maybe I'm just throwing things out there in case they're helpful. But for me, I find I do still get triggered by certain things. And my challenge is to get to the place where I'm not, because that's on me, right? Not on, I know people who, if only they wouldn't do that and they wouldn't do this and so on, I'd be fine. But, that's on you, obviously. So I need to still do some more work, obviously, if I'm still getting triggered by things.
Well, yes. And what's the last thing that you can recall? What's the last big trigger that you can recall?
The pandemic.
Well,
the handling of it, and more specifically, the handling of it. Yeah, I guess that's
such as. I mean, it's a lot of handling. Okay, so, and there's two sides to it and everything else.
I know.
So what's the trigger?
I guess. Well, I just recently finished writing a book. It's not published yet. There's probably a block to it being published, and I feel like maybe uncovering this stuff and unclearing some things might free that up. But it's called The Third Alternative because it's all about showing people choices, options, right? And my tagline is, there are always options. So that really triggers me because they were taking away all the options instead of giving people choice, right? And I definitely believe
like ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and all that.
Oh, I don't even know. I've heard of those, and yeah, those would be choices, but
Uh-huh.
you have to do this, you have to do that. You can't go here without, a mask or a mandate or whatever the case may be. That's hardly choice,
Yeah, I know.
So,
Yeah. Or you lose your job, or you can't go to school, or
right. Yeah,
no.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Or you can't
that
conduct your
triggered me.
business.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a business nearby us, a nice little coffee shop that was family run, and they knew people by name and so on. They had to shut down, and this kind of thing. And I know it's got to be all for the good, and probably that they've got a lesson to learn from that challenge, and
All right.
I've got a lesson to learn from all that too. But it
Well,
still kind of triggers me.
okay. Well, it triggers a lot of people, but I don't think, unless you can tell me more, that that's a candidate for what we're talking about, because that's the
Okay.
kind of thing. It's sort of an opinion. You're on one side of it, and you don't like what's happening on the other side of it. And there are lots of people with lots of opinions, and these things get
Oh,
triggered,
yes.
etc.
Yeah.
We're looking for something that triggers you, and it's over the top, so to speak, an excess reaction. And the way you describe that, there's lots of people that have that reaction, including me. Okay. It triggers me. I don't think it's something we need to resolve unless you're going to tell me otherwise.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I worked on some specific event, like hearing about it's not actually even a specific event so much as when the lady told me they were going to close their shop. I did work on that, although again, you want to go further back, I think.
Yeah.
Something more.
Yeah. Typically. Uh,
Yeah. I guess another thing, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Other things that trigger me is I guess when people, well, it's a similar thing. Family members, if they have a certain sort of view that this is the only way to do a thing, this is how it has to be done, this is how it should be done, and then I I'm still learning to come down to where they are and meet them where they are and find the bridge. I think of where's that confounded bridge, because I tend to just jump in bluntly with, oh no, you can do this, rather than cross the bridge and get down to where they are. So that's an issue I have as well. But that may
Well,
not be what you're looking for either. Okay, I'll let you lead. And
no, these are all good inputs. But
yeah,
I'm looking for, see, under all this, as you're telling me, you want to be able to use this for other people and so on.
yep.
Yeah. Okay. And we're always looking, in order to instruct you and give you training,
Mhm.
is to work on things that are your issues, so you
Yes.
get a good sense of what's
Yep.
going on. So we're looking for
Definitely.
your issue. You tell me physically you have niggling little issues.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, yeah, I mean, no serious disease or something. There's all little things as that build up, and you know, it's definitely there are things there, but I wouldn't consider, oh my goodness,
Okay.
I'm dying.
So the only thing I'm hearing that's coming up so far is your, what did you call that? My not good enough itis.
Yep.
Okay. That's the only thing I'm hearing. And that's sort of a generalized thing.
Yeah.
It's not a really specific thing, although there are specific things underneath why you would have that.
Yes.
Okay. And you're talking about something that just about everybody has to some degree or other.
Yes.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
we live in a society where you need to achieve, and everybody is not good enough at something. I told
Right.
you I wasn't good enough to play professional football.
Right.
True. True. Okay. You're not good enough to match up to your parents and their manifestations and wondrous achievements and so on. Close your eyes for me, if you would. and just search your past a little bit and see if you can't find a specific event where a mother, father, sibling, somebody, teacher, or somebody says or does something, and you say to yourself, "Oh God, I'm defective. I'm not good enough. Something's wrong with me." Can you find that?
Having trouble. Nothing's jumping out at me.
Okay, well, open your eyes. It is. See, that was your big deal yesterday. That was the only big deal we put on the table anyway that I could find. Yes?
Yes.
And I've got to do it right or else kind of thing and all of that. And we worked on that and did some reframe. There's a lot of stuff was going on without formally bringing in unseen therapy, but she's there anyway.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does it feel, as far as you can tell, like we did something with that yesterday? Took the edge off it or something, or not?
Well, I feel since I've brought it to my awareness that I'm kind of looking out for it, if you will. It's more in the conscious mind now.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like it's gone away. You know, I'm it from my head logically, I know, of course, I'm as good as anybody else, and not necessarily at what they do, but you know, everybody does something well. When I journaled about this the other week, I came up with I'm the best at being me, and that's something that's not really, doesn't make me feel like I'm. It doesn't take away the not good enough feeling.
Well, yeah. Say this for me and then just pause a moment and really tune into it. And then give me on a scale of 0, I'm going to give you a little sentence to say, okay?
Yes, yes.
And then give me on a scale of 0 to 10, how true does it feel to you? Not the I don't want the logic. We want the emotional response, okay? Yes. And here it is. I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough.
How true? 10 true? 0 true? 2 true? What?
8 comes to mind. 7 or 8. You know that.
Well, okay, but 7 or 8 comes to mind. How does it feel?
Yeah, no, that's it. That's, I think, how it feels. Maybe more 7.
Well, okay.
Somewhere in that range.
And when you say that and you say how it feels, is there a physical reaction in there? The heart pounds a little bit, or you feel a constriction someplace or something?
I didn't actually notice, but if there was anything, it might be in the stomach area. I'd have to say it again and tune in.
Well, do it. Do it. Get into it.
I'm not good enough. No real big physical thing coming to mind. I do sometimes hold my breath and then I catch myself. I know there was somebody else you talked to who had that kind of a thing, but I not as much over recent years.
I'm going to give you another sentence.
Okay.
Same exercise. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, let me write it down first. Remember, 0 to 10, 10. Boy, is that ever true? Ultimate, yay, and 0 is that.
Yeah.
All right. And it's how it feels, not the logic. How it feels. Okay.
Yep.
I must be perfect.
I must be perfect. I'm laughing. There's a conflict
Well,
There's a conflict in me. I know absolutely I don't need to be perfect.
well, that's the logic.
But I know
That's the
there's a side
logic.
of
Yeah.
there's a
yeah.
side of me that sort of but you need to be, so there's a bit of a conflict, so it's hard to read the numbers. I'd say maybe 6, but maybe it's an 8 because it's struggling within.
All right. Well, that's a start anyway. I must be perfect. That's sort of a cousin to not good enough itis. Okay. It's a cousin, but we hit it a little differently and managed to get some kind of response. Was that a stomach response or any physical thing you can recall?
No, but again, it's like a little bit of hold the breath a second, a little tension for a second, and then so,
Okay. Well, I'm not hearing an ultra biggie here. Okay. Are you sensing an ultra biggie, or is it just something that we can talk about that's got some influence on you?
Which part, the not good enough or the not perfect enough?
Well, either one.
Yeah.
I must be perfect.
Yes, okay. Must be perfect. It's possible they're bigger than I think. I remember it's possible there's something else underneath that we're looking for. I don't know.
Okay.
I just know when I went over that lesson, it was like an aha moment for me, and everything suddenly made sense. How everything sort of fit together. But there could be something underneath that.
That was lesson number 4?
Yes. Yeah.
What about lesson number 4 triggered that?
Well, you had a list of things like not good enough and unlovable and a few things there. And when I saw the not good enough, it kind of really resonated with me. And I did a little journaling on it. And again, when I was thinking about my family members, it suddenly became kind of clear. That's almost as if that was their role for me to point me in the direction of that block so I could clear it. Now, that's not very logical, but there could be something underneath that. I don't know.
Well, there probably is. There probably is. Okay. We haven't. I mean, I'm drawing my bow, trying to shoot my arrow. The target isn't very clear yet. Okay. It's sort of this general amorphous, I'm not good enough kind of. Yeah. Do you happen to have handy?
Yes.
I say it differently. When reading the book, The Unseen Therapist, at the end of it, the personal peace procedure talks about specific events and asks you to make a list of 30 or more. Yep. Do you have that list?
I have it on the computer. I can bring it up.
Okay.
Hang on a second. Here it is. Whoops. There. Okay, it's online here. I mean, on my desktop.
Okay, are there any specific events there that are aimed at I'm not good enough, I must be perfect kind of thing?
See, I didn't actually look at that, and it occurred to me after we were talking, or sometime in the last day or so, to go back through the list and look for specifically. I haven't done that yet, but it did occur to me that would probably be a good idea to go through and look for specifically if any of those relate to that. What I got more of from my list, a lot of distress and indignance, because, well, a mentor I worked with over the last couple of years thought I was an empath, and that would make sense in a lot of ways. Why? But also why a lot of these things, like little kids just being kids, would bother me a lot. I'd always just wanted to be, why can't everybody just be kind, treat each other nicely, you know, instead of kind of being mean or whatever. And those sort of things always bothered me. And that's what I was finding a lot, or what was more on my list, that kind of thing.
Well, actually, I think that's kind of healthy, because that's recognizing what this world is really like. You know, being a dream, being an illusion, and it's filled with that kind of thing. Okay,
Yes.
At least that's the glasses through which I look. Okay,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that the major thing you tell me yesterday is I'm not good enough. I must be perfect, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And yet I didn't make your original list.
I'd have to go through it and see if it makes sense, you know, are there things on it that fit in that category? Because I was going through and I'd get a lot of different emotions. It's like when I go through them, it's like there's a whole ball of emotions, and I have to kind of take out which one am I feeling, because they're all kind of tangled up together. And I'd put a list of them actually and rate them all and sort of handle them all together, focusing mainly on one, because I don't think you're supposed to put them all together, but I don't know, it seems to work and generally brings them all down, even if I'm focusing on mainly one.
You put, how many were there? 30, or were there more than that?
Oh, I mean, in one specific event, I'd find a bunch of different emotions.
Yeah, okay.
I have, and I think I made a list of about 100 or something.
Oh, okay.
Over the years, yeah.
You didn't do all 100 at the same time. You did them one.
No.
Okay.
No,
right.
I did one event, and just that there, you talk about aspects, and often what I'd find is different emotions. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay, all right.
But instead of doing one round on each, yeah.
All right. So that list on your computer, is it in front of you now?
Yep, I can bring it up in front of me.
Okay.
Yes.
Pick any one of them, one near the top or the first one or something, and just read to me what you wrote.
Okay. Well, it's funny. The first one was actually something I don't remember. We just imagined my daughter uncovered from a little session. So I don't know if you want that one or if I can go to the second one.
Well, just pick one and tell me just read what you wrote.
Okay. The moment when I had to walk to my piano lesson for the first time, and I currently feel so, and I put anxious about it. And then actually, that was a pretty small one, but I guess it could fit in with the not good enough. If that makes sense.
Okay. And that's well worded. Okay. Good. Okay. Pick one out that had a fairly high beginning number.
Okay, let's go back here. That was a 6. That's a 4. Let's have a look. I know there's some with definitely much. Well, there was an 8.
Well, read that one.
Okay, most of the other ones were smaller. That one was the moment when Amy told me she and Shona had tricked me, and I still feel so. Well, the rejected was actually low, disconnected, isolated, sad, indignant. The one that, indignant, I think, was the one that was the higher number.
Indignant. I've yet to hear the term indignant for anybody.
I'm full of firsts.
Okay, but read it again. The moment when
Amy and Shona, they were 2 little girls, and I think it was around grade 4 or something in that age range. Where is it? They had tricked me, and I still feel so, and I came up with a bunch of different possible things, but indignant because, you know, it seemed, again, this goes back to trying to do what's right, or having an idea of what's right, and that goes along with the perfect side, should be like this side. And they had hit on me, and I mean, little thing, really, very little thing, but I'm thinking back, well, why would they do that to me?
Well, yeah, but you wrote down an 8 as an emotional response.
Yes, yeah, it bothered me. Why are people unkind?
Why what?
Why are people unkind to each other? Why do they want to play tricks on each other? That kind of thing.
What we're looking for is what that means to you.
Yes.
Now, about you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like
yes,
they tricked you.
Yeah.
What one possibility would be, they tricked me, and that's because they don't respect me. They don't like me. I feel unliked. I feel unvalidated.
Yeah.
Would that be in there as well?
Yeah, I had, I can read you, sorry, I got it. Here we are. So I had rejected, but that I didn't feel that was very high, at least not that day. And disconnected, I had isolated, I had sad, and I had unloved, but my feedback was, I had this, a feeling of unloved came up, but I got the sense unseen therapist was assuring me I'm always loved. I just have to remember it. And what I noticed.
Did you buy it? Did you buy the fact, well, you're always loved? That's a nice statement, but do you buy?
I did. I did. I ended up putting a 0 there. The feeling came up, but yes, I did buy it.
All right, close your eyes now. We're testing.
Okay. Yeah.
Go back over that thing where Amy and whoever it was tricked you. Zero in, if you would, on the isolated feeling.
Mm-hmm.
That's a form of abandonment. That's a form of you're not good enough kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Zero in on that and tell me if you're still a 0 or some other number.
No, there's something there. I don't feel it's that. I'd say maybe a 4.
Again, is there some kind of a physical sensation attached to that?
I didn't notice any.
The term isolation, let's get to that for a moment.
Okay.
I mean, you brought that up, but it was sort of an also-ran thing.
Yeah.
But the term isolation could lead to something deeper than you're able to access yet. Okay.
Yes, I think you're on the right track, because I think there's definitely over my life, even very recently with the pandemic, a feeling of I think differently from the general populace. And then you feel like you don't fit in. I've never had the sense that, oh, why can't I be more like these people? I always had the feeling like, well, why can't more people be like me? So, but there's definitely a feeling of, I lost touch with some people I had been friends with in the past over the last couple of years, because there's just but I made new friends as well on online. Yeah.
Well, isolation.
Yeah, that's been a big one.
Well, yeah, but I want to get to something else if I can. Okay.
Yes, please.
To see if again, we're exploring, and I'm trying to find something really tangible we can work on. Okay.
Yeah.
But isolation has some other cousin terms, and some of these terms can really get a lot heavier underneath than we're aware of. Okay. Mm-hmm. And one of the cousin terms is the term abandonment. Mm-hmm. Or you've used terms like I don't fit in, et cetera. And what I'm thinking is, as you described your amazing manifesting father and your amazing achieving mother, et cetera,
Mhm.
That's not you. You're not able to do that. You're a very young girl. Something is missing with you. You're not good enough. You are isolated from them with in your own estimation. That's a form of I don't fit in. I'm abandoned. Your parents may be loving to you, but that doesn't mean you don't feel abandoned in some way. Self-abandonment, perhaps. How am I doing?
You could be very, very close. I just, it's hard to know because I don't have any conscious thought of that. It makes sense, absolutely, for something that the subconscious would create. I have seen things like that, even with my own daughters. And I think what I don't know if it came so much from watching my family. It's very, very strange for me because they were very big-hearted, my father particularly. I feel like where I would consciously be aware of it would be more, in other circumstances, like in the school setting or whatever. I really don't, although you may be 100% right, that may be what my subconscious got.
Well, I don't know, but I've got another sentence. I got another sentence for you.
Okay. Yeah.
This is coming off the wall. It may be nowhere on target, but we'll try it. Let me get the words a minute here. Hold on a second. Here's the sentence.
Yes.
Just a minute. I've got to get this phone call.
Yes.
All right. Here's the sentence. I feel like I'm on an island and it's so lonely here.
Yes, that resonates. I feel like I'm on an island and it's so lonely here. Yep. That resonates. You want me to rate it? I'm going to write it down so I remember what I'm saying. Feel like and it's so lonely. I feel like I'm on an island and it's so lonely here. Yeah, that's probably. That's probably a higher one, 8 or 9, maybe.
Oh, okay. Physical sensations or not?
I wasn't really noticing any, and a slight twinge in my head, but that could just be. It's not necessarily. I don't know that's necessarily connected to the sentences.
Yeah. You don't have to.
Yeah.
The reason I asked that is when there is something, and that happens a lot. Okay?
Yes, I know.
It's a way to measure how well we're doing.
Yes. Yeah, I've done that actually with people I've asked the same.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
But it's not required.
No, I know. Those. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this event with Amy.
Yes.
And all of that, would that be an example of I'm on an island and I feel so lonely?
Yeah, could be definitely. Anytime, even when I didn't relate to other people, and there were other incidences later on to similar kinds of things where people like to play a friendly prank or whatever, but that always made me feel like, I'm not relating to this, and that makes you feel kind of alone. Yeah, I'd say that's probably.
All right. Well, feeling alone in the lonely. When I had you say that I'm on an island and I feel so lonely, was the I feel so lonely the triggering moment in that sentence, or was it on an island? Or
the whole thing resonated. I mean, it's and the island has the sensation of separateness, there's kind of distance between, even if you're right beside a person, you could still feel that way. So the whole thing, I think, resonates. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that sounds like an important issue.
Yeah.
In a way, I have the same issue myself. You know, because I'm forever putting stuff out there, like, you know, tapping on the meridian system, you know,
Yes.
that's, whoa,
Yeah.
you what? You know, I mean, you know, you're open to a lot of
Yes.
arrows being shot at you.
Yeah. Yes.
And now I'm bringing in the unseen therapist. Who
Yeah.
who in the hell is that?
Yeah.
You know, and what is that? Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have some avid followers, but I have some other people that are
For sure.
they put me on an island, okay?
Yeah.
Which is an interesting way for me to say it, because it's like they put me on the island. I
Right.
don't feel like I'm on an island.
Yes. Yes.
Do I get indignant, to use your words? Oh, it's probably in there somewhere. And that's something I need to work on, because I need to, that's a form of like a little bit of resentment kind of
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
And so that's a remnant I need to work on, because well, let me just ask you, to me, since we now have the same issue, okay, to me, this being on this island, I don't feel lonely here, okay? And so that's a different, I don't feel lonely.
Yeah.
I wish more people would come onto the island and say, yay, yay, this is a great island, you know, we should make this a continent. Okay?
Yes.
And more are doing that, but there's a lot that are outside that, okay?
Yeah.
But my response, I'm talking about my response to that's what we talked about yesterday. It's your response to these things that really counts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need to have, I think the right term, but always correct me, is we need to have compassion and tolerance for those with different views.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And when we don't, we're developing forms of resentments and stuff like that that's costing us.
And it's judgment too, which I don't think is.
Well, judgment and resentment also go together.
Yeah.
You know, they're in the same little basket of terms.
Yeah.
So I can see now, at least I think I'm seeing, you tell me.
Yeah.
I'll back up just for a second. You're familiar with my metaphor, the tabletop and table legs?
Yeah.
Okay. I can see a tabletop.
Yeah.
That is, I am not tolerant of other people's views or something like that. Or I feel alone, or I feel like I'm on an island. Okay. That would be the tabletop.
Yeah. I don't think the first one is 100% right. And I've definitely, there's probably still more work to be done. But I don't feel like I'm not tolerant of other people's views, and I do definitely try and be compassionate towards people. Okay. And I feel compassionate towards people, but the second one is resonates more with me.
Okay, so the title of the tabletop would be "I'm on an island and I feel so lonely."
That's probably true. I don't feel lonely when I'm connecting with people who are like-minded and who can, you know, that kind of thing. But just in the general populace, or I'm talking to other people and it just doesn't resonate what they're saying and I can't really connect, then I definitely would feel that way.
Yeah, and it limits, I'm guessing, limits your conversation. It limits the potential for the friendship and all of that.
Yes, I would say it probably does.
And there are probably many specific events underlying this tabletop, you know, table legs. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so Amy and her friend.
Yeah.
Would that be a valid table leg?
I would think so. It's a specific event that underneath this definitely makes sense to me. Yeah.
Okay. Can you think of a table leg, a specific event that might be more valid for this tabletop?
Well, from my childhood, it's a little harder. I can take a look through. I mean, there's things that were more recent, you know, over more recent years, 20s and 30s, 40s, whatever, even 50s, but they're we're wanting something, I'm sure. Yeah, there are some from more childhood, and I've dealt with them. Yeah, I would say I'm sure there are things there. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Yes.
can you think of one more impactful than the Amy thing? That's what I'm asking.
Oh, yes, yes. There was a time now, this would be, I think, age 11-ish, if that's not if that's
Well,
far enough
well,
back.
4 is better, but let's try 11, you know.
I can't remember anything that's like that when I don't even remember stuff from back that far.
Well, that's okay.
Well, I can look.
Take the 11. Okay, that's all right.
Okay. So we were living with temporarily because we had just moved to Montreal. And let's see, trying to remember this was the second time, or was I actually, oh no, I may have been older because we moved there twice. Was that when I was 14 then? Could be. Yeah, I think so, because we moved back and that's why we were staying with, yeah. 14, okay, or you want something earlier?
The earlier the better, but what I want more than that, I want something that's more, if something is more impactful than the Amy thing, that's what we want.
Yeah.
For now. We're gonna do
Well, actually, okay. And there were a couple of things that I worked on a lot that were from around 9, and one might be, I have no idea what age I was, could be 6, 7, 8, I don't know. First trip to the dentist, that was fairly traumatic because what happened was, and that's the earliest one I can think of, and I don't know if this is quite what you're looking for, but I'll tell you.
All right.
So I was very anxious about it, very uncomfortable. I didn't want to be there, and I ran out of the office. So, and I think I was screaming. So the dentist had this black foam stuff, and he put the black foam in my mouth to stop me from screaming, running into the waiting room, and that. So that was fairly. I don't know if that fits into your, I'm all, on, what was it here? I feel like I'm on an island and it's so lonely here, but it could, I suppose. Is that the sort of thing you're looking for or not really?
Well, I'm not saying it's not there. I'm just not seeing a connection between the island thing and having some black foam put in your mouth and you don't like it.
Yeah.
Are you on an island at that point, or does that fit, or it's just?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was just trying to think of more impactful childhood events.
All right.
Other things didn't happen until later on. Childhood was fairly content.
All right. I got a different idea here.
Maybe being at camp and didn't connect necessarily. I had one friend there. One time being, oh gosh. Okay, please, because I'm not coming up with the right stuff.
Okay. We get this into something a little more advanced, which is good because we're teaching here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got this idea that you get an 8 or 9 on it, you're on an island and it's lonely. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You're not coming up with an exact specific event, an exact table leg under the tabletop.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Although there are likely many.
Yes.
Okay. And we want to deal with one to start with. What I'm going to do here is skip ahead in all the lessons that you're in lessons 4, but this was lesson 5 or something.
5.
Yeah. This is up to lesson 27 or 8 or somewhere up there.
Okay.
It has to do with when you can't remember a specific event, which happens a lot. What happened at age 2, I don't know. Okay. Is to make one up.
Yeah.
Okay. We make it up. All right. Now, it's not so important when we're dealing with a specific event to have the details of the event just right.
Right.
Okay. Because there in the past, a lot of details are foggy. Okay.
Yes.
But what we're looking for is your emotional response.
Yes.
That's what's important about it.
Yep.
So we can make something up completely, okay?
Okay.
And if that gives you a of some kind,
yes,
we can use that completely made up event as
Got
though
it.
it was real, because we're aiming at the emotional response.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm thinking of doing here is sort of a made up one.
Okay. Because I can think of a lot from later years, but not from childhood.
Well, the chances are, if we deal with one from later years,
Yes.
and that's an avenue we could take. I'm just thinking of a different avenue for the moment.
Yeah.
But we're recording this, so you can look at it and get the idea again. You can go to one that's at age 20 or 15 or something later, okay?
Yeah.
But it will probably do something for that, but it will probably point you to something more foundational still. You won't go from an 8 or 9 to a 0. You go from an 8 or 9 to a 3 or a 5 or something like that, meaning you haven't finished it yet. There's something deeper, and it will probably point you there. But I want to do something a little different. Okay. I want to be a little more, I'm going to do a made up kind of thing. Okay. I'm going to make it up. All right.
Okay.
But it's going to be more generic rather than a specific event. It's still made up, and we're still going to aim at the lonely emotion.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yep.
Okay. So this is going to be, easy on your part, because you don't just follow along. Okay. I'm going to narrate the whole thing and all of that. However, if at any time something comes up and you think I'm in the wrong place, or something comes up that just seems important, say it.
Okay.
You can interrupt it.
All right.
Unseen therapist will not shake her finger at you and say, shame, shame, shame.
No. I think she has a good sense of humor.
Well, it's a good sense of humor, and she's
non-judgmental.
It's more like, thank you, thank you, thank you. That'll help. Okay. So
yeah.
So we'll give that a shot and go from there. That works?
Okay. Yes.
All right.
I'm game.
All right. Let me just narrate the thing. So, close the eyes. All right. And take a nice, deep, relaxing breath. We're going to be here a little while, probably. All right. And as you are used to by now, let's start this off by just recalling we're going to align ourselves with the unseen therapist. It's an invitation, and we're going to do that just by doing our best to recall a loving event, a loving moment in our own life. So just recall that, and whenever you're there, just nod your head. All right, good. And just as a reminder, with your eyes still closed, we don't have to have this be perfect in a Hollywood moment and all of that kind of stuff. We're just doing our best. We're just letting unseen therapists know we're listening. Okay. We're going to hand you a little something and ask you for a little help, but we're listening. We're open to the guidance now. Okay. That's all that is.
Yeah.
So now let's plug into your imagination, and let's imagine you at whatever young age you wish to choose. And there you are, walking around in a friendly gathering of people, maybe even a small city. People are nice. They have different opinions on stuff, which is typical. Okay. You have your own opinions, and they have their opinions. And the chances, of course, of these opinions perfectly coinciding is next to zero. Okay. And as a little reframe, when we enter the world of separation, one of the things that comes with that is separate interests, separate ideas, separate backgrounds, separate beliefs, separate filters on how we see things, and all of that, separate cultures that influence us, separate schools, separate parents, separate movies we've seen, blah, 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 blah. No two people have the same set of values, interests, beliefs, etc. No two people have the exact same. They may both have the same political view, but even in that, there are differences. They may have the same religious view, but even in that, there are shades of differences, and on it goes. So you're running around inside this is all reframe, Marnie, okay? Mm-hmm. So there you are running around in a sea of people and a sea of beliefs and a sea of ideas and thoughts about what is or isn't right. And you have in your imagination this view that yours has got to be the right one. All right. And so does everybody else, by the way. Their own beliefs are, of course, the right ones. That's what they use to get through this world. Okay. What is right and what is wrong and what is ethical and moral and not, and all of that are just different with different people. And of course, some people get quite adamant about that, maybe even little you. Okay. I'm right. I'm right. Yes, sir. I'm right. That's all there is to it. Well, that's unseen therapist. That's a little expensive because even though you think you're right, believe me, Marnie, says an unseen therapist, as you grow older, all those beliefs are going to start to change. Okay. There will be a time when you have a view of marriage. And time will go on and that view will change a little bit. You have a view of how to raise children, and time goes on and that changes a little bit. Okay. You have a view of health, a view of doctors, a view of all kinds of things, and they're going to shift. So how do you know what's right where? And here you are, Marnie, says unseen therapist, on your own little island in this sea of people. Okay. And it's natural to feel lonely when we have to say, I'm right, and that's all there is to it. Now, we're not asking you to give up your beliefs and being right and all of that. Unseen therapist says you're in a sea of people where it's impossible to get agreement across the board. So just understand that, and you can insist on being right all you want, but that's going to cost you. All right. It's going to cost you. There's a beauty behind everyone. And she says, Marnie, imagine for the moment that you are in conversation. And here again, we're going to be any age you want to be. Let's be an adult in this particular piece. Okay. Let's just imagine that you're in this conversation on some topic, the pandemic, for example, and the other person has a different view than you do. And you're saying nobody should mandate to me anything or to anybody else that close businesses and do this and do that. And yeah, and the other person says, no, but you have to do that for the good of everybody, no. What's really going on, says unseen therapist. Imagine this. Here's the two of you seemingly arguing with each other or holding different views and maybe not even expressing them, but nonetheless, I'm right and you're wrong. And both are doing that. But what's really happening is both people have a set of beliefs that are different. And so, if you will, imagine in this conversation that floating above each of the people is a cloud. And that cloud contains all the beliefs that each person has. They are different. The people themselves are pure and beautiful children of God. And it is the beliefs, the clouds, that are arguing or having differences. Okay. And so both of you recognize that it is the beliefs that are conflicting. And so you walk out from underneath your clouds with the other person. You go off and have a drink someplace, or you play tennis, or whatever you want to do to be great friends, and let the beliefs go ahead and argue with themselves. The two clouds bump into each other. When you do that, are you on an island? Let's go back now. There you are, the young you, walking around the sea of people, all of whom are having their own conversations, their own belief clouds above them. And you're now seeing them a little bit differently. It's the cloud of their beliefs that my cloud is debating. I'm not on an island now. I don't feel lonely now because now I'm dealing with the essence of everyone. Now, I can be on an island if I want to, because my cloud is going to disagree with everybody else's cloud. Okay. At least in some area somewhere. Okay. I need freedom, and freedom is to walk from underneath the cloud. So what we're going to do with that little reframe and that setup, if you will, is we're going to go back to you being the young you, feeling like you're on an island and it is so lonely here. Is we're going to take that lonely feeling, that lonely emotional response, knowing now that it's really not necessary. Sure, you do it, but it's not necessary. And we're going to represent that as you're used to now from our OEFT course. And we're going to represent it as an unwanted vibration somewhere in your body, a loneliness vibration. And we'll just pick out the heart, an unwanted vibration around the heart. Ta-ta, 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 like that. We're not asking you to make your heart vibrate. This is an imaginary thing. And so we're just metaphorically putting that together. And we're going to hand it to unseen therapists, because I don't need to feel lonely here anymore. It's costing me, making me feel like I'm not good enough when in fact I am. Okay. And so in our imagination now, we allow unseen therapists to send towards you a cooling, healing, loving breeze. So if that lonely feeling, that not good enough feeling doesn't need to be there. So here comes the breeze. It comes towards you, it enters your body and begins circulating around your heart. And that unwanted vibration just can't survive with all that understanding love. See, unseen therapist understands this at a level young you just are not able to do. An adult you is having a little problem with it. Okay? But we want to go back to where it first started, for example. This little metaphor is to help. So here's the cooling, healing, understanding breeze that circulates around the heart, the unwanted vibration. The vibration cannot survive in all of that. So it goes ta-ta, 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 ta-ta. Now let's do that again. There you are on this island, feeling lonely, unwanted vibration around your heart. Unseen therapist sees it in your imagination. Here comes the breeze. Ta-ta, 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 ta-ta. And maybe in your imagination, you find yourself sort of floating off the island. Now, take your time, Marnie, and repeat this another time, twice, three, more, whatever. Unwanted vibration, the loneliness, the island, ta-ta, 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 the breeze, ta-ta, ta-ta, ta-ta. And repeat until you've gone as far as you think you can go, however far that is, okay? There's no grades here. You don't get an A or a C. You don't have to do it right, okay? You just do it. And whenever you think you're done and gone as far as you can, just open your eyes and you and I will talk a bit.
Okay.
Okay. So first question is, were you able to follow along okay? Did you have a bunch of competing thoughts or?
No. You're narrating. I'm used to guided meditation. I meditate every day, 15 minutes a day, with or without guidance, so that was easy to follow.
Yeah. Well, all right. One thing you could do, by the way, is when you meditate for 15 minutes, do a purposeful one just like we just did.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
All right.
I was thinking of doing the peace procedure, specifically guided ones to work more on. Yeah. Actually, go ahead.
Well, okay. So what did happen in there? Anything other than what we talked about, or?
Yeah, no, the clouds actually, when you first mentioned the clouds above people's heads, they wanted to merge together and become like one cloud. So that was kind of interesting. And then I definitely, when you said to fly away, I was enjoying floating above and sort of just floating up there. It didn't feel lonely floating up there, kind of flying up in the clouds. And sort of, I logically have always recognized it's okay for different people to have different beliefs, but I never really felt a connection if it was that much at odds with mine. I respect and allow, a different belief, but I didn't feel a connection. Somehow this just, everything merging together and I guess becoming part of the one doesn't really matter, that element. And I like the imagery of the clouds above the people and you can just move, move away. I like that.
Yeah.
Leave the clouds up there behind to do whatever they want, whether they want to fight or merge or whatever they want to do. I like that.
What you were saying earlier about you've already, I forget the exact words, but you respect people have the different ideas and so on.
Yeah.
That could be an academic, logical statement.
Yes.
Rather than one you own.
Right.
Okay. Yes. And we're trying to move towards something that you own rather than something that you state.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a difference.
Yeah, I understand.
Let's do a little testing here. Okay. Let me look at my notes here a second. Okay. Say this sentence for me and tell me how true it feels. Okay. Yes. I'm on an island and I feel so lonely.
I'm on an island and I feel so lonely. Just a little trepidation left, as if I'm not, but what is that replaced with? You know what I mean? Like you live that way, but then you kind of clear it, and then now what?
Well, yeah, well, you were an 8 or 9, and now you're telling me you're like a 1-ish or something.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
What is it again? I feel like I'm on an island and it's so lonely. I feel like I'm on an island and it's so lonely here. Yeah, no, there's just that kind of underlying trepidation.
Okay.
Because,
All right. And that, Marnie, is what I would typically expect. We did not get to a specific event, which is the more efficient way to do it. We treated it like we tried to throw a whole bunch of specific events in there,
yes,
with a big reframe and all of that. Okay. Because we couldn't find specific events.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm a great one, as you will learn more and more going through the course, for testing. I never want to be fooled by a temporary result, and you don't want to be fooled either.
Yes.
Okay. So what we just got there seemed to be successful for now. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Okay. But we don't know what's left yet. And tomorrow the sun will rise again and life will resume.
Yes.
and all of that. So you'll want to test it again tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
You'll want to run it through again, see what comes up. All right.
Yes.
Now, if it's 0 or 1 or some little thing, well, okay. I would think it'll probably be higher than that.
Okay.
Don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know it'll be tested. Okay. But that's not bad. That's actually good, because it's telling you, well, you didn't get to specific events. You probably kicked the center out of it someplace in there, and that's a good thing. But there's more to do. Now start looking for more specific events that you can do to help clean it up. Okay. Because there's probably lots of related events in there.
Yes.
Where you would feel isolated, if you will.
Yes.
Okay. Or lonely or whatever.
Yeah.
The time somebody did this and somebody did that, and I thought this, and and so those are cleanup things. And the more of those you do, the freer you are.
Yes.
Of it.
Yeah.
Now, getting back to my tabletop and table, I feel so lonely on this island, for example.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So here's all these tables. There may be hundreds of them. Okay. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise, maybe 1,000. I mean, your life goes on and all these things happen. Okay. So I don't know how many we dealt with here with this more generalized thing, but it's not all of them. All right.
Yes.
Okay. So I got 2 of them. Okay.
Right.
Or some. Okay. But are you familiar with my phrase, the generalization effect?
I think I've heard it, but maybe I'm not familiar enough with it.
Well, there's a lesson.
No, I did that was in lesson 5, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. It could be.
Yeah.
It could be. But the idea of it is you could have hundreds or 1,000 of these lonely island type things.
Yeah.
Okay. Not good enough itis stuff. Okay.
Yes.
But you don't have to deal with several hundred of these or 1,000 of these to get relief from all of this. You can, if you deal with 5, 10, 15, 20 and do them well, really well, they generalize over all the rest of them.
Right.
Because they're similar people, similar gestures, similar tones of voice, similar concepts.
Yes.
And so that's the nice thing about it. 5, 10, 15, 20, really, really well. Yeah. And there's a freedom there.
Yes.
That's going to help a lot, I think.
Yeah.
Now that's me throwing a whole bunch at you. Okay.
Oh, that's all right. I didn't bring my mitts, but yeah, I'm good.
Well, and that's why we're recording it as well.
Yeah.
Let's I want to test again.
Okay.
Go back to the Amy thing. Close your eyes, go back to the Amy thing. I think you said you were like a 4 or no. You were a 4 or a 6 or something.
Yeah,
Go back,
yeah.
go back to it. Run the movie in detail. You know, try to get yourself upset about that movie and tell me what happens.
I'm having trouble to it seems like it's kind of separate, like, oh well, they're just little kids and, you know, playing a prank, and it's not really anything so serious, and I guess in a way that's their cloud or whatever.
Well, am I hearing the sting is pretty much gone?
I think so, at
All
least
right.
for them.
Well, we didn't actually deal with that one specifically.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We
Yeah,
dealt
I
with
have
it.
dealt with it before, but yeah.
Well, just now though, I mean, you gave me a
Yes.
number. Maybe I didn't
Yeah,
write
it
it
was-
down. It was like a 4 or something, or
Yeah,
was it not?
Yeah, definitely. There was still something there. Yes, that's right. I think 4. Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. That's a clue that we did something. One other thing
Yes.
here is I had something else for you to say, and then give me your
Okay.
how true is this on a 10-point scale? How true does
Okay.
it feel to you?
Yes.
Okay. I must be perfect.
I must be perfect. Having trouble putting a number to it. It just came, that's an illusion anyways.
Well, that's different than a 6 or 8 you gave me to begin with.
Yes.
All right. Again, I don't want to be fooled by a temporary result, but that's a clue. We did something worthwhile. We moved in a proper direction.
Yes.
With this.
Yes.
With this. Okay. Probably more there, as we talked about.
Yes.
Okay. And you will find that out as you see, it's recorded, so you can go back over this session.
Yes.
And you can plug in specific events if you want to.
Yes.
Take a little skill to do that because it doesn't exactly fit, but it's a doable thing.